Okay, the movie Bliss was so cool because it described the awakening process really well. I would just say in another unique way. There's so many that basically okay, let's just say it like this because I'm hopping all over the place because I want to speak from so many different places. But essentially movies like Revolver, Divergent, Hunger Games, just any of those movies are essentially showing you, if you have the eye to perceive it, what's going on with reality and what is your ultimate goal here. And the reason I'm doing Bliss today is because of most of the videos that you're probably going to see before this one if I release them in order. If not, it's going to make sense when it's in the collection of videos that I end up releasing like one by one. But yeah, so anyways, without further ado, let's get into it. Remember to be your authentic self, and yeah, genuinely love yourself, and that will be projected on the others. Let's go. So I like the movie Bliss because it did a really good job of accurately describing how it feels to go through an awakening and then come across your like soulmate, which essentially everyone is your soulmate. Like we're all connect. Like all right, I'm gonna just start breaking it down because screw it, dude. I said I wouldn't hide anymore. Screw it, let's do it. I'm just gonna go out the gate. We are all connected in essence. I was even telling my ex this when she was still growing and getting over the fact that she lost her ex-boyfriend. But the thing is we're connected in essence, so you never really lose anyone. And this was a really like it wasn't really a harsh, deep pill for me to swallow when I first had my awakening around 18. I sort of knew what was going on, but I truly understand that you can't lead horses to water and make them drink. It's just what it is. Not to say my ex is a horse, but what I mean is just essentially like you can't alter someone's awakening process. It doesn't work. And trust me, I've tried because that's the energy of awakening. When you first awaken, which Bliss captured it in a cool way too, when you first awaken, you want to tell everybody everything. It's the same thing in the story of Jesus, man. You will be crucified because what true love looks like is not anything that it looks like in this world. It does not look like anything here. And that might be hard for some people to say or from some people to hear, but Bliss captured it cool because the main girl that if you've seen on the thumbnail, the main woman, showed the guy that this is all light code and it's all a simulation, and like the family that you have here, you think that that is love and you think that that is real, but it's not. And essentially it's the same thing for this reality. Now this reality is very dense. We're in carbon based bodies. We're this, they talk about in certain scriptures and texts that you can return your body to the crystalline body, the light body. Well, putting on that light body is breaking this down because that's what I've seen. Now that I walk around, I don't even see like people anymore. I see souls because it's just not we're souls. We're souls having a human experience. It's not even mother, uncle, or anything anymore. It's literally the soul behind them. And I remember experiencing a crazy thing years ago when I think I was maybe 20, or it had to be maybe 2019. Not 2019, but 20 or 19 of the ages where I had this experience, let's just say, a very insane trip where I could see through my cousin and like my best friend's veins, and that we were light, like we were light itself. But oh, that was such a crazy moment. I'll just keep that. But Bliss does a beautiful job of literally explaining what is going on. That is essentially what we are. And when you begin your body is a okay. You ever hear people talk about being psychic and visions? Look, I'm one of them. I've predicted car crashes, I've predicted my grandma's death, everything. I am no different from you. I put something else in my brain to rise to this state because your body is technology. Your pineal gland, which is a real gland that secretes dimethyltryptamine. They said DMT releases when you die. Very funny. When the physical body dies, DMT releases, so it's like a trip. Very interesting. But if you understand that DMT is naturally flowing through your body, and when you go into meditation, your body naturally releases this, then you start to kind of realize your body is a sensitive piece of technology. Shout out to Tone, because that's exactly where I'm taking that from. But I've really come to realize what he means by that, because I've tried to say this in the past to people. You know, I say it about my peers who wake up and watch Kim Kardashian. They don't realize that everything outside of yourself is the programming. Everything that you distract yourself with, it could be family, it could be friends, it could be anything. And that's why a lot of meditation and manifestation and all these psychic abilities are about focusing and channeling your attention to one point, because our attention is so pulled from here to here to here. And essentially in Bliss, it was the same thing that happened. He was so attached to that old life that he had. And she actually even showed it when she went to show that, okay, so essentially, I don't want to spoil the movie for anyone who wants to see it. So I say go see it right now if you want to go watch it. It's on, I think, Amazon Prime. But essentially, she woke him up. He said, give me something to really make me realize none of this was real. Like, unplug me. It was like some Neo stuff. Unplug me. She gave him basically, like, I'm just going to say it was like a psychedelic. Popped him out. They woke up in the chair and they were, welcome back, Dr. So-and-so. And this dude was like, yo, that was really not real. And they were married, and she was trying to tell him. Funny enough, I've done this with certain people in this reality where I've said that. It's like, yo, we know each other in essence. Like, I don't think you can see me because you think in this reality, I'm just this. Like, I'm just the frame. I'm Lunar was lost. But no, we were connected once. And it's like, to you, once you have that awakening, you're not even realizing you're talking from the place that everyone descended from. So when you talk to them, they're in the conditioning and the hardening of reality, all of these thoughts, beliefs, everything that their parent put on them, all the traumas, all of this, all the societal standards, all that. So they're so condensed that they're not sensitive to spirit. And that's essentially what it was. So even when he came back to the real world, he was like, yo, this is nice. Like, it's like eternal. Like, look at all this technology. It's like paradise. And we were just like in the slums and all that. Like, and he was so amazed. And when she brought him on stage, which I think that was part of his character development, which essentially it was like Cypher in the Matrix, she shown that his true emotions and true feelings were connected to the simulation. And though they all congratulated for her work because the simulation felt so real, she was basically showing that he made a decision, like, you know, she was still attached to him, but she couldn't be attached to him because it would keep her in that world too. Like, she would feel it was real. And she even had a part in the movie where she was like, oh my God, you're dragging me down with me. You're dragging me down with you. And like, we're like, I don't remember if she said we're going to get stuck here. It's been a minute since I've seen it now, but she's like, oh my gosh, you're going to keep me here. You're going to keep me in this life. And essentially he was going through the character dilemma where he's like, damn, well, I know the real world. I see it, because he kept drawing where they lived on his, like, while he was working his day job, he kept drawing this woman and the place, and it was her. And that was like his, like, divine messages from his higher self, because he was in a lower state, trying to show him, hey, you live here, like, this is where your real life is. So anyways, long story short, he basically did what Cypher did in the Matrix. Even though Cypher knew the meat and everything was fake, he said, plug me back in. I want to go back in. I will give up Neo and all this shit and where they're going for you to just put me back in there. And essentially he did the same thing, but it was a more like a heartfelt, honorable thing where he was attached to his earthly daughter. So he was attached in the simulation to the daughter, which was, you know, and the test, I think her whole technology was to see how convincing that world could be, essentially, or something like that, for people who wanted to have basically that experience, that they didn't live with all this technology they have now. And she passed because his real emotions were attached to that place. It was attached to the system. So then he ended up being drawn with a choice, and you basically saw the two worlds splitting right before his eyes. It was either choose his wife and stay here, his soulmate, or go back into the system with his daughter, which felt very real to him. And his soulmate followed him again into there and tried to tell him, you know, like, she tried to like, I think how the movie was wrapping up was he he I think it was wrapping up where he essentially was gonna, I think, try to like, I don't know if he was gonna try to, he couldn't wake up the daughter because she was an NPC, but I think he was gonna see her one last time, or say to her like he apologized for everything and then try to leave, because that's how the how it ended up playing out, where his soulmate went back with him, and he was like, and she said, okay, let me get us both back now, like if you're done and everything. And it ended up being one of the little psychedelic things to get them back, basically one of the things that would help them exit the game. She only had one left, so only one of them could go, and he ended up deciding to stay in the simulation and she left. And I don't and I think the movie just ended on pretty much he decided to just stay in the simulation and never return home, which the simulation is this right now, what we're in right now. And but I think, right, based on how the movie would make it seem, is it's essentially people who are manifesting here and experiencing certain levels of psychic abilities have the choice to keep those abilities and stay within the system. But then there are certain people who can just go home, who have been aware, maybe you heard people talk about reincarnation cycles and things like that. Those people have, they are ready to go. You'll hear certain videos online maybe of people talking to Sadhguru and hearing like, oh, this is my last incarnation. Essentially it's that. So in the movie, I'm assuming that his wife, who was saying he was his soulmate, she left the simulation for good because her path was complete. She made a system that felt super real, that can convince somebody who plugged themselves into this world that that was the real world. And that's essentially what we're going through here. And it was hard for her to wake him up, but because he was already drawing her and already convinced, it was easy for her to just guide his hand. But I've been along in that path with multiple people too. There's some people I've been along this journey with and met in the system, and it's nothing but love, who we've had crazy intense connections, and then we just sort of dissipate and go on our own walks of whatever experience. But it's insane because Bliss captures it in such a good way, because it's like, or not a good way, in such a real way. I mean, I don't know, it did it well because it captures an aspect of awakening, because even Revolver does, where they do it in a subtle way, but it's really you. And don't worry, I'm gonna talk about Revolver too when it comes to awakening. But Bliss was awesome for me because essentially how the woman felt is exactly how I felt when awakening happened. And I tried to be with a partner that didn't really understand that, and it's okay because it's all love, because you get from your level like, oh man, like I wish I could really just get you to see this world because it's so beautiful. Like if you truly see the real world, it takes care of anything you call a trauma or pain here, or losing a loved one, because I seen it. It's the same thing that happened with my grandma. For some reason, I was given the visions to see when she was gonna die, and that shit made me not be able to cry. I wasn't even able to cry. I didn't feel it in my body. Like I was like, damn, she's gone. I got mad at myself for not feeling sad. But what I realized is because I've been conformed to the human condition. It's not wrong to not cry. The thing is when you awaken to this knowledge, you know that no one is actually gone. Their physical avatar they were in, well, their avatar body. No, I guess that works. But their physical body is gone, but they are not gone. So yeah, man, I love Bliss, and that Bliss was dope for me, because that was the best. I feel like I feel like that was the best movie in terms of what it looks like to have a soulmate or like a twin flame in this system, where you guys may have incarnated multiple lives together and you're trying to wake that person up or get them to like come with you. It's trials and tribulations, man, for sure. But Bliss was insane. Bliss was insane. I love Bliss. I was about to just stop it on 1333, but yeah, much love in Moonlight. Bliss was awesome because I wanted to talk about Bliss for a while, because that if you are awakened or on your journey, Bliss is a movie you should definitely go see. I recommend it. But yeah, all right, I'm out of here. Peace.